This is my personal evening stretch that is allowing me to open the chest after a long day of work, but also releasing the hip flexors that might be tight because of a lot of sitting. So especially after a long day in the office or long journeys, travel, this is great to get the body back into balance. Few poses, but very slow work here. So we're starting in downward facing dog, and we're simply coming up onto the toes, rolling over our big toe joint here. And this is about exploration. So you might want to explore how your ankle joint is doing while you're doing it, how far you can press your heels down. If you prefer, you can do these knees bent. And also you want to explore how far you can push your chest down, or if you want to wiggle a little bit, put one shoulder down, the other shoulder up, etc. So everything is allowed that feels good. And do this simple move of pushing into the toes and releasing the heels back down. I'm pulling the head up here because I do want to come into a little bit of a back bend and then more of a rounded back. So everything that you want to do is allowed. Coming into down dog with a little bit more of a back bend for the upper body, or a down dog where you're trying to round yourself a little bit more. We're doing each move around 20 times. Except for the push-ups. That's the good news. So this is really an evening stretch you can take your time for. You can start to align breathing rhythm and movement, and then come forward into plank position. Find a really nice position with the hands underneath the shoulders, and then bring the knee forward to engage the core. So this is like my basic workout. If I don't do anything, I at least do this little workout with a base level of strength workout, picking the knee forward here in the slow mountain climbers, running on the spot 20 times, and then pushing backward into forward fold, just climbing with the hands toward the feet, grounding the heels here into the ground, lifting the sitting bones, folding forward. And again, you can explore maybe bending one knee then the other, or waving your shoulders like the waves here of this amazing background of this video on this beach. And then bend both knees and come back and forward fold, maybe even a little bit further. Try to pull the navel in, rounding the back, exploring if you can let go a little bit further. And we're also releasing our wrists a little bit during this forward fold, because we've been doing a lot now in plank position on our hands, and we will still do a little bit of it. So this allows us to release the wrist. If you want more of a wrist release, of course you can rotate the wrists while you're stretching. You can grab them and then stretch it out and come back forward into plank position. We're doing the famous push-ups. This only 10 times. Start on the feet. If you need to, you can go low on the knees. Wide push-ups, fingers are pointing in, elbows are pointing out. Avoid pulling these elbows, those shoulders towards the ears. Elbows are pulling out. Try to go for 10 times. And then lower down onto the chest into a very wide cobra. So you're bringing the hands outside of your chest, and we're rolling and waving up and down, or even to the sides. This is to open the shoulder girdle, to release the spine, Even the neck is involved. So imagine you are a wave, like the waves in the background. You are that same wave coming up, rolling and lowering down while your elbows are pulling out of your shoulder joint. Releasing tension here in the shoulder girdle, in the neck, in the lower back. Get those feet grounded on the floor. Glutes, hips are slightly engaged so you can be free in the upper body. Now wave around like a dragon, like a winged dragon. Do whatever feels good, explore, and then bring your right arm 45 degrees out to the side and turn over onto that arm. So this is stretching your pec muscles, your chest muscles, which get tight when we're driving, when we're sitting at our desk, because the hands are constantly engaged in front of the body. So we need to do the opposite, bringing the arm behind the body and opening that chest. Be gentle. Roll over as much as you can. Help with the left hand. And you might even want to flex that right hand being on the floor to even stretch the forearm, shooting that arm further out, and then release, come back onto the belly and change sides. So the left arm comes out 45 degrees. You can bend the knee to roll over even easier. The other hand helps a little. Be gentle and nice. Remember that when we exhale, our muscles allow more stretching because we're reducing the tone of our muscles when we exhale. Especially if we are exhaling slowly, mindfully, really meaning it. And remember, you can flex the back hand. Left hand on the floor can flex slightly. It's getting a little bit intense there. So do as much as you want to do. If you do this the first time, be gentle with yourself. If you do that, if you've done this a few times, you know we can go a little bit further, which actually feels good for you. And then come back into the center. A little bit of toning of the upper body here so the chest can relax. Coming from Y to W, lifting the arms overhead and then pulling the shoulder blades together. Remember, we're doing each 20 times, so just keep going. I'm counting for you here until I say stop. Extending, pulling the elbows back, extending, pulling the elbows back. Remember to work your shoulder girdle and your shoulder blades. Shoulder girdle away from the ears. Shoulder blades are working and swinging forward and back. Forward and back. Out and in. Out and in. Engage the glutes. Legs stay on the ground. Last time. And then stretch it out. Grab the hands over your sacrum. Lift the chest slightly and now pull the elbows and the hands towards your feet. I do like to stretch the neck at the same time, so look in towards the ground and not in front of me to not overdo any compression in the neck. So that's up to you, whatever feels good. If you feel a bit tense in your throat, you can also look up a little. Then only do this if possible as a variation on this. If you don't have lower back problems, you can grab your ankles, flexing the feet in and then grabbing each hand one ankle from the inside so that your palms are facing outwards. So we're opening the chest further. Lift the chest as much as you can. Again, be mindful of your neck. You can look down to the ground if you don't want to over compress your neck. Then come back onto your belly, press up in a push-up, back into downward facing dog. Lift the right leg 20 times, foot can be point. You lift and extend and lower down without touching the ground. Lift and extend, lower down, lift and extend, lower down. Stay in that down dog position, hands are engaged, fingers wide, palms are contacting the ground, anchoring your hands with the mount of your index finger, pushing into the mount of your index finger, which is the big round bone at the beginning of your index finger. 20 times, keep lifting. This is working our glutes a little bit. Remember, whenever I don't have time to do anything and just need to relax, but I know I also need to work out and tone, then this is my choice of workout. Then bring the right leg forward into a low lunge, and then swing the left arm up and over to the right side, making a little bit here of a C shape with the upper body. So what we want to do is to create length in the whole left side from the pinky finger all the way to the left heel. And we're stretching our hip flexors, which might have been contracted all day if you've been sitting. You want to open that whole side, breathing into that whole side, wibble and wobble a little bit so you can figure out where it needs stretching, where it needs releasing. We're staying on that same side. Simply lower your left leg down, and if you can, grab your left ankle with your left hand. If not, don't do it. Simply lower the hips down a little bit further, and to open the chest, lift the right hand up. I want you to connect your pinky finger and the tip of your shoulder blade, and now pulling the shoulder blade, the tip of the shoulder blade towards the spine, and the elbow and the pinky finger away from your body. So creating length between the pinky finger and the tip of the shoulder blade. Keep your balance, explore. Somewhere you find a spot that needs releasing and stretching. 20 small breaths here, slow breath. And again, we stay on the same side. Now, coming into low lunge again, bring the left hand next to the right foot, and coming into rotation, looking over the right shoulder, you can press the right hand against your right knee and exploring how much you can rotate here, and imagining to lengthen between the crown of your head and your heel. So the heel is pressing backwards and your right knee and crown of your head are pulling forwards. Another variation that's very nice is opening into that rotation, lifting the right arm, flexing the hand. I like doing that as a progression to first get me into that rotation, a little bit assisted, and then opening all the way up. Then come into the middle, lowering down into that wide stance, simply releasing your hamstrings, come forward. You don't need to turn around, I'm just doing that so you can see what I'm actually planning here. So first you just want to release forward and down, releasing the shoulders, the head and the neck. Pushing both heels, outer and inner heels into the ground, creating that strong foundation and releasing the lower back. And then we're coming up into flat back, grabbing the floor with the right hand, lifting the left leg up into rotation, coming back into center Lifting the right arm up into rotation. We're doing that 10 times, lifting up. Do it your tempo. We have enough time here. This is not about rushing, lifting, rotating, coming back to center. This is more about feeling and giving yourself what your body needs, being able to explore, having the time to explore and the means and a little bit of guidance so you can feel where your body needs care, love, taken care of. Very good. And if you want to do more, you can always pause the video and then resume. And now we're coming back over to the other side. First, we are starting with the down dogs and leg lifts in down dog. So left side is now lifting 20 times while staying in down dog. You might feel that your chest started to open up more, that the down dog is getting much easier, or maybe your wrists are starting to tire a little bit, but we're almost done here. That's the last plank position on the hands. Keep the left leg engaged. Engage the glutes, stretch the leg out, point the foot if you want to. That makes it a little bit easier to keep the knees stretched out. So I don't want you to bend the knee at the end. This is no like flipping over of the leg. We're keeping the leg stretched out for the whole time and don't touch the ground. So do not put the leg back to the ground 20 times. Keep going. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then from your split position, come forward into low lunge. This time we're opening the right side, so the left arm stays on the outside of the left leg and you're circling the right arm over, up and over, extending the whole right side this time. So you have two possibilities here for the back foot. You can either stay on the big toes, on your toes, tucking the toes under, which is allowing you to work on your mobility in that toe joint, or you can flip the foot into your warrior position 45 degrees. I think this is too steep an angle and actually hurts the ankle joints. I'm staying here on the toes. Try whatever feels best for you and then elongate. 20 slow breath here between the heel and the pinky finger. Then lower the right knee down, come into quadriceps and psoas hip flexor stretch. We're grabbing the right ankle with the right hand, pushing the heel down and then lift the left arm up. Remember to lower the shoulder blades down. We are creating length between the pinky finger of your left hand this time. Pinky finger and elbow is pulling out and the shoulder blade is pulling down and towards the spine. Don't go into too much of a back bend here, though it's tempting. We're staying in low lunge rotation. Come with the right hand to the outside, well, inside this time, of your left leg. And you can start with the left hand on the knee or with the progression of lifting the arm straight away, whatever you prefer. I like to come into that rotation first, assisted, while pressing with the hand into the knee. So I can really rotate the shoulder down. Right shoulder rotates down, left shoulder rotates up. And as soon as you feel it, you can lift the arm all the way to the sky. And this allows you to flex the lower hand a little bit, to flex the upper hand, release those forearms, open those shoulders. in rotation, hip flexor stretching, quad strengthener, and shoulder opener. Super combined position. And then slowly release back down, come back into that wide stance. You can simply stay here. I will come around again. And this time we're staying in that forward fold, but we're trying to open those legs as much as possible into a hip opener adductor stretch, ADD. But make sure that you can control the stretch, and especially that you can come out of the stretch again. I don't want you to rip anything, so make sure you stay in control and keep your arms engaged so you can catch yourself if ever necessary. 20 small breaths, very slow breath here, and then come out of the position with the help of your hands. Bring the feet a little bit more narrow, and then simply stretch one adductor at a time. Bend one knee, stretch the other leg out, come back to center, bend one leg, stretch the other leg out, coming back to center. Alternating adductor stretch, ADD. And breathe very slowly. Keeping the back straight, still pulling the sitting bones back and the crown of the head forward. And you can explore whatever feels good. You might by now have a good feeling of where your body needs room and stretching. And the good news, now we come to the lying positions. This is where we really wind down. We're first bending the knees, picking the hips up, hip lifts, but with the hands stretched out, the palms pressing slightly into the ground, and we're pulling the shoulder blades together underneath the body. So lifting the hips, pushing the hands and the shoulder blades slightly into the ground, and lowering back down without touching the ground. Knees should be 90 degrees bent when you're in your hip lift. We're doing that 20 times as well. This is the strengthener toner part of the whole stretch, so whenever there's not much time, this routine allows you to do a little bit of everything and keep your tone up so you support your spine in staying upright all day. Keep breathing. Keep a neutral curve in your spine. Lift up. Lower down and lift up and stay up. Now interlace your fingers, keep those hips up. Crawl onto your shoulder blades so the shoulders come a little bit together. Press the pinky fingers into the ground, fingers interlaced, and just lift those hips up. We're also stretching our necks here a little bit, but don't put too much weight onto the head. Just come up as much as you can without feeling any tingling whatsoever in shoulders, arms, or hands. That would be a sign of compression in the neck. Compression of nerves then, actually. And this is simply getting smoother. We're chilling out here. Still engaging the glutes, the butt, but this should be more of a stretch for the shoulder girdle. And last one, plow pose. We're lifting the feet overhead, making sure with the hands that we're staying in balance. Again, you do not want to get too much weight onto your neck or your head. You want to keep your weight on the shoulder blades, on the shoulder girdle. And this is the last one, also allowing us to stretch the whole back chain, which allows us to come into the parasympathetic mode, the digesting, sleeping, repairing mode that we need to wind down and restore our energies. So this is perfect before going to bed to stretch the back chain of our body. And keep exploring. I am stretching one leg, bending the other here, and then changing, maybe bending both knees, stretching both legs out again, whatever feels good, and then just roll forward. Don't come back up straight away into standing. We have been doing a very big stretch here for the back chain, so simply roll forward into a low squat. And from that low squat, just come into forward fold. And mindful of yourself and in your own time, you either come up into standing or lie down in Shavasana or in bed and relax and release this out. Wonderful.
Yes, I believe